It's adrenaline buzz. Driving a Group B rally car must be like being on drugs. First career was a butcher, but because we had 3.5 days a week, in that time I taught myself to weld, panel beat, spray, and I started repairing cars like that. And I wanted to get into motorsport, and it was useful to repair them when you bash them. We've rallied in all of Africa, I should think, been to Australia, various other countries. It's been an adventure, absolute ball. I was just a 12-year-old working in the local butcher's village shop. I loved it so much that I wanted to make it a career. Can't remember the exact year, but it was a summer when it was very, very hot. And my boss said to me, it's so hot, the meat trade's a bit quiet, would you like a bit more time off to do your cars? And I said, yeah, and it just exploded. Once I was there every day, it grew and grew and grew. When I started on my own, I had £23 in the bank. I learned that if you put the hours in, you get the rewards. But I really, really loved repairing the cars, that's the thing. I loved it. Motorsport started late 60s, early 70s. First thing we ever did was a hill climb, a grass hill climb. We didn't have a very good car, we had a Mark I Cortina Estate, but it had a trick engine and suspension because that's what we could do. We did very well with that the first time we ever went out. That's how it started, and it just progressed in progress. We spent about 10 years doing local championships just to learn your craft really and what you could afford as well, and certainly smashed a few up, I'm afraid. We won the West Midland Championships, the Cotswold Championships twice. Then you want to venture and move abroad and try other things, and that's what we did.
L'histoire de la course de côte du Monteberg commence en 1972. À présent, cette épreuve est le point culminant du calendrier national de rallye sprint, en grande partie grâce à la participation en nombre de nos voisins britanniques, tels David Cadwer, qui, au volant de sa Ford Escort, ne voudrait rater cette manche pour rien au monde.
We did a lot in Belgium. Ypres, Monteberg Rally Sprint. We had some good results on Ypres Rally. We finished second overall before now. Could never win it, tried and tried, but everybody's so friendly, and it's like that everywhere. Friends like that in Australia, Kenya, everywhere. I can pick the phone up and go there tomorrow. Changing jobs, it was a big, big risk at the time, but it's been the most rewarding thing I've ever done. Yeah, I used to crash quite a few times, and on occasion I remember going to a place called Westridge Woods, which was very, very narrow, big drops, and the organiser came up to me at the beginning and he said, Dave, I'm afraid we've seeded you a bit further down the field because basically we don't want the track blocked too early. It's fair enough, isn't it? I used to go in there and either win or crash. Well, you're going down a straight maybe or whatever, and you know that it's happening. OF. It's like slow motion. It honestly is like slow motion. You can see everything going on, although it's absolutely bonkers in there, bits flying all over the place. Well, when you've got no steering at all at that sort of speed, you can't do anything but hang on and just wait for the thud, because it's coming. Unfortunately, crashing is part of learning. If you're pushing to them limits, you're going to crash. Somewhere along your lifetime, you're going to crash. Everybody wants to know, see or look at Group B cars. Those people who weren't around in the day just are infatuated with the films, and those who were there just want to see them and hear them again, because everyone I speak to say, I can remember when we were stood in such and such forest and you could hear this thing coming and wondering, what the hell is that? Group B is all rallying on steroids. It's beyond everything else. It's just so exciting. Group B started in '83. One of the most dominant cars in '83 would have been the Lancia 037, which was two-wheel drive. But obviously Audi came out with their four-wheel drive. Lancia managed to beat them that year, but after that, four-wheel drive was the be-all, end-all of everything. Turbocharged, mega horsepower. It was just so much development so quick that people couldn't believe what was going on. I just think Group B was ahead of its time. The only problem with Group B really was crowd control. The cars were, yeah, they were fast, but if you could have kept the public off the road, you wouldn't have run them over, would you? Talking to people who went and watched, they just say it was the most iconic sight. The noise and the flames out the back, and they'd never seen anything like it in their life, and they haven't really seen anything like it since. This model, Audi Quattro, is just the car to own and drive. It's so special. And I've got to say, every time you drive it, it frightens you. He's definitely a handful. I'll explain a few of the differences on the car that were different from the earlier version. On a normal car, your front suspension would mount on the top, vertical. They've made these special brackets and raked the front suspension back so many degrees so that they would turn in better, because they just went, you turn the steering and you go straight on. It's literally not very nice. And like I say, to get the weight down, they in the day, this is all Kevlar, carbon Kevlar by Kessel, airbox, everything. Wherever they could get the weight down, even the racks made of magnesium, get the weight from the front to the back, a few modifications, and that's why it was a bit of a beast. It's over 550 horsepower. You can adjust it all, you know, on the ECU, but I don't get involved with that, to be honest. I just press the pedals. If you come round this way, in order to get the weight back, you've obviously got your petrol tank, which you normally have, your batteries in the back. This is your water radiator and fans for cooling. So these ducts on the boot let the heat out. This side is the oil and the fan for the oil. And down in here, this tank is called, what's known as a dry sump tank. That's the engine oil for the engine in the back to get the weight at the back. That's quite common on lots of rally cars, but not this system with the radiators in the back. Yeah, this is the cockpit area. This is for the navigator. This is your trip meter. It tells you how far you've gone or how far you want to go and when various corners, etc., are coming up. It's 6-speed gearbox. This little button on the top of the thing is for a PPK clutch. This car hasn't got it. Only, I think, 2 cars had it fitted. Basically, when the driver wants to left foot brake and he presses that button, the clutch works on its own. You don't need your foot on the clutch pedal, so he can actually keep his foot on the brake pedal and still work the clutch with the button. Walter Roll was really good at it. No, it's just adrenaline rush beyond and beyond. You've just got to concentrate with this thing, because if you don't, you're going to crash. Luckily, I've driven 6 or 7 different types of Group B car, but this is a monster. It really, you've got to hang on to it. You get the bigger buzz because it's more scary, to be honest. You're having a bit of a fight with it, really. It's it does what it's supposed to do, but you have to push it harder than what you would normally push a car to get the best out of it, and that's what gives you the buzz. You won't never tame it, but I love it. Absolutely love it. This car was originally built by my best friend Gary Midwinter. It is a replica, but it's built with so many original parts because it's been built over 20 years when nobody wanted any of the parts. Gary is just a purist and wanted to go everywhere to get the right parts, and he had the right mechanic helping him, and I did the body work, and I painted this car 20 years ago plus, and still looks good, and he did such an amazing job. I have actually had proper Audi mechanics ask if it's real. Yeah, Gary passed very suddenly in the December, 8-9 years ago. I'm not 100% sure now. It's just something you block out your mind sometimes, but like I say, he looked after me and I looked after him. He was an absolute star, and he was a better driver than me, to be honest. When Gary passed away, there's a big rally in Valpentina, just off from Verona, and they did the whole rally in honour of him and this car, and I drove the car with his navigator with me on that rally in honour of Gary. Sometimes you take a risk because you're trapped in a situation where you'll just always be comfortable, and if you don't take a risk, you're never going to move on, are you? It's the same with my job when I went from a butcher to panel beating and learning all that jazz, and same with the rally. And if you want to win, you've got to take a risk and push and push and push.